In this video, we are discussing what apparently is the hottest of topics in World of Warcraft Mythic Plus right now. This video is going to show you step one of what I hope a conversation will be into the future. We are talking about using rotation helpers in Mythic Plus, especially higher progression level Mythic Plus. Now, I talked about this last weekend because the one button rotation and like the Hekili style thing where it just kind of highlights spells and recommends stuff like that. I prefaced my opinion on that topic saying that I knew somebody who, from the formative years back in Wrath of the Lich King and the Burning Crusade, well before things were very complicated at all rotationally, used to use a rotation helper as one of the best players I had played alongside in those days. And his perspective was, even if a single time throughout the entire combat that you're in, you would make a mental mistake on your rotation, this will help you not do that and get you to the level that you want to be at. So there's no reason not to use it. And I always totally agreed with that. I still subscribe to that notion to this day. And you know, if Blood Death Knight worked that way, that's what I would do too, because it's just always helpful to have a little bit of an autopilot helping you along the way. So today we're going to take a look at a Mythic Plus 15 Motherload upgraded with the player as the top damage dealer overall using the Hekili add-on, and I hope that this will create a discussion. So dungeon already in progress here. We are going to be right before the first boss, and you can see in the dead center of the screen there are those 4 buttons. Now, I don't understand how this add-on works at all, to be honest, but I see some very interesting things going on the screen right now, and that is actually 4 recommended spells, presumably in order from left to right on which they're recommending you use them, or is that actually like the order that they expect you to use them in? After you use the first one, the next one will come. What's interesting to me is it actually shows you the keybind on it too. I think this is supremely useful, and again, even if you don't use it every single time for every single key press you do, it still seems like it would be something worth having. Like, it's very unintrusive, it's very small. I guess you could probably change the size and the width of it maybe as well. If you guys have used this and you know anything about it, please like explain the intricacies of it. I don't know if you could actually alter it. Like, can you tell it what to tell you, or is there no way to do that? Because that was the thing we were talking about with the one button rotation thing. We were talking about how Blizzard has to choose it, right? They are the ones that tell you how to play your character, and there's not a 0% chance that it's going to be bad. It's going to recommend spells in the wrong rotation, but people should still be excited about it anyway, because obviously some people are just incapable of doing the rotation, whether that's because of physical restraints or whatever other problems people might have. But I do think like the best feature that is coming though is the new highlighting of the spells thing. Really useful for all level of player, whereas the one button thing, pretty much useless. I can't imagine anybody's going to actually use that in high level content. It just sounds like it's a really big DPS loss over just actually using, even using an add-on to do it. So that's like the second part of the conversation I hope to have, is I hope that we can then have another, maybe even the same key, Motherload 15 or whatever, any 15 out there, or somebody's using GSE, which is a step above this. This is one button and they're actually doing it. Now, I talked to a guy on the video comment section from last week, and he was showing me some content creator who apparently like makes these imports for GSE or whatever, and then, you know, I guess he shows them off in dungeons. That guy has some like sub 10 Mythic Plus dungeons on his channel. He recommended that I reach out to him and maybe do a review of that, but honestly, like, yeah, sub 10, I don't know. I mean, like, it was kind of interesting, but I just don't really feel like that is the level that you would need to be confident that the add-on is valuable and that the add-on is functional as well. At this point, if you guys play Unholy Death Knight and you see anything that is on the screen that is incorrect or recommended wrong or being done wrong, please let me know. That would be something that we would want to talk about with all of these features, including the Blizzard ones, obviously. And then I think maybe the big thing is, like, are we sure that they're following it? That was brought up in the chat, and there was a little bit of a feisty argument going on in the live stream chat from this week, where the player who submitted this was saying that they use it and they feel like it helps them and it has propelled them to this level, whereas the player who was arguing against them saying that it's inaccurate, it's not something worth following, and that you wouldn't really be suited using it. I think even above a 10, he said. I don't really remember the argument, but I remember, you know, this video is the result of it. But I don't think that's like a criticism of it. I don't think that's a knock against it. If you don't actually follow every button that shows up and it can still react to you changing the order of it and be functional, then this is a really good, because it means that you know what you're doing enough. You're just hoping for maybe a little bit of a handhold every once in a while, and then it means that the add-on is sophisticated enough to actually supply you with that when you need it, not just when you have it on. But the run itself is not notable. In fact, it's so unnotable that it's impressive. There is 0 deaths, there's no mistakes. This is going to be a romp. And as you can see, I guess like on the bottom and middle of the screen there, we have the overall chart with a pretty substantial gap between the Unholy Death Knight and his cohorts in the dungeon. So again, whether or not it's the add-on, whether or not it's the class. I know a lot of people believe the spec is overpowered. I personally haven't seen it, honestly, but this player is certainly demonstrating why that might be true. I like this little strategy here too. We're going to pull this War Machine into the boss as well. This is something I have not tried, but I would definitely be interested in potentially trying it. We don't even have the chat available. There's like some hockey player over it or whoever that guy is, but I would imagine there's very little chatter and everybody's calm and everything's going well. And I would imagine that people are looking at the DPS chart and thinking like, all right, yeah, this guy's playing to the best of his ability, right? I think that was another big talking point when this got brought up, was that people were, I guess it could go in either direction. They were going to either be mad that they were in a group with a person who was not like playing at the same level as them, but there was no indication of it, or they were going to be mad that they basically got duped into inviting somebody whose most of their like success has come with the hand holding add-on or weak aura or now the Blizzard made feature and stuff like that. I guess, I mean, I genuinely can't understand the actual complaints about it, because to me, as a Mythic Plus pugger, it's all about meritocracy. If you got people who are doing good overall damage, not dying, interrupting, using their full utility kit and playing well, as long as they're not like actually cheating, I don't care. It wouldn't matter to me whatsoever. They're a valid person, regardless of if they're using an add-on, and regardless if they're using a single button to do their whole rotation. I think it's like a little bit of like almost like an ego thing too, where people are really hesitant to embrace this, because we've seen people comment on the videos from last week saying that like, I would rather challenge myself, bro. Like, if you're not gonna do the rotation, then you're not even playing the game. Yeah, I mean, hey, I totally get it. I actually do agree with that as well. I understand the concept there, but I think most people are looking at the content and the progression within said content as the challenge. And so if you can shortcut that, people are gonna do it. Like, I mean, there's people out there literally advocating for things that are definitely exploits, even performing things that are definitely exploits. Blizzard doesn't really punish it. It's a common phrase. Exploit early, exploit often, because typically Blizzard is pretty lenient on people who do it, unless you're Size getting banned for killing Ivus 10 times in the first week. Now we're doing something crazy. I guess the tank is going to go ahead and like aggro all the bombs or something. I'm not really sure what the strategy is here, again, without the chat. I assume they're like speaking about something, but yeah, I guess what this does is it gets every single bomb on the tank. I guess it makes it cleaner for DPS, that's for sure, because now they can all be there. I think this guy's trying to do it again, but this time it's failing. It's like this crazy, it looks like that scene from Resident Evil or whatever that film is. All kinds of freaking lines everywhere. This scares the hell out of me, man. I'm actually on edge just by looking at this. They're so far away, it doesn't even matter. We're just gonna kill them all individually. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think less of a person doing this? Do you think more of a person doing this? Do you think you should use the tools available to you? That's really the big question. But there's a fine line between it, I think, in some people's brains, where it's okay to use weak ores and track CDs and all this other stuff, but it's not okay to use a rotation assister. You're still using other add-ons. I can't really see the difference between it, to be honest. I feel like using the tools available to you is what the game is. And I think a lot of people want it to not be that way. I get why you would say that, honestly. I really do. But it's just unfortunate that's the case. Like, there's not really a lot of options to say otherwise. Mythic Plus especially, it really encourages you to do things that you would not expect to be normally in World of Warcraft. I don't really see the distinction between it. You know what I mean? I get that there's some gray area and some, I guess, ego to it, like a skill thing. Like, you want to be the one who's actually earning the victory and the skill and all that. But yeah, I don't know. To me, I don't see a difference. I really don't see a difference. And I think anybody who uses this is just trying to improve their gameplay to the best that they can. I think the fear generally is that it's going to make players worse. And that I could see. You know, if you get kind of like addicted to this or like hooked on it or whatever, like you then can't do without it. I've seen that happen even to myself when we're doing the leveling challenges on the second channel. Once we go away from an add-on like Rested Experience, it's like, oh, I don't actually know how to level without it. You know, it's so strategic and it advances you so severely that without it, you're almost at a loss. But coincidentally, I have learned a lot from an add-on like that. An add-on that teaches you a route, you kind of remember it after you do it 5 or 6 times. I would hope it's the same way with this. I would hope it's the same way with the one button rotation thing as well. I hope that once people see the spells rotate hundreds and hundreds of times, then they start learning about it. And then they feel like maybe they don't need it. And maybe then all of a sudden they're not using it as much. Or the cool thing about the Blizzard one is that like you can just press your regular spells too. It doesn't just remove all of your spells. They're there too. So you can put all of those on your action bars and you just press the one button rotation when you feel like you're in a dire situation or like a moment of stress. You might press that and then go back to doing your regular rotation once you feel like you have that handle on it. It seems like a win-win to me. I don't really see a detriment to it on any side. But yeah, I would love to continue this conversation, especially if the comment section here indicates that it's still a hot topic. Like, yeah, let's keep seeing it. I would love to see somebody do a higher key with GSE. I would then very much like to see something very specific. So I'm challenging you guys who play DPS mains to go on the PTR and do this, okay? Go on the PTR PTR, record 2 to 5 or whatever, however many minutes you feel like is the right sample size, whatever like your normal boss length might be or something like that. Go on to a single target PTR dummy, do your full rotation, print that out, then do it again with the Hekili version thing, do it again with the GSE thing, do it again with the actual one button rotation, compare all of them, because it's really pertinent that Blizzard does a good job making the rotation seem correct to players, right? So it's very possible that they'll get it wrong, and it's very possible that these add-ons will still be better. If they are significantly better, this is feedback Blizzard needs. This is feedback us as a community need, because obviously if you're thinking you can just replace Hekili, like this person here, if they're going to get rid of Hekili and just go with the Blizzard simulated one, they may actually be hurting their progression. And as we see some things falling apart here at the end, but we are still going to get this kill. 9% left, 3 deaths coming out in this fight. This fight is always strangely difficult for people. I'm always shocked by that, but just get on there and test some stuff out. And if you guys get footage of you comparing your regular rotation to the rotation with the Blizzard highlighted action bar thing, and then compare it to the one button thing as well, I think this would be a really interesting discussion. And I think the numbers are closer than you might think as well, but it's also a higher percentage than it might look like. We had a guy say 1.9, then 1.5 or something like that. That's actually a pretty big distinction. So yeah, I just love to hear more data on this, and I would just love to hear more discussion about it. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys more. We got a lot more coming this weekend, so stay tuned. Don't know when the patch that's going to bring this feature is actually coming, but I think when it does, it is going to bring a serious reckoning to this game. There's a lot of people saying a lot of negative about this topic, but I think if you're out there actually playing the game, you might be surprised at how beneficial it could be. So thank you for watching. We will see you guys in the next one.